That way we can at least get the retweets going.
Try that link.
Right, be right back. Just like that.
All right. That's you on the new link?
And Rainbow Puke.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let me edit this link real quick for you.
Eric, you need better internet.
Okay, try the edited link.
That's weird. Oh, you just edited the one that's in there? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Our video is very, very choppy on YouTube.
It should even out.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Wow, that is terrible. What do I have running?
Well, it's not. That wouldn't be on your side, right? Because
yeah, it would. It's encoding errors.
Yeah, it's super duper choppy.
I was gonna say the only other thing I can think of is I can do a reboot. I don't know.
No, it's all of our videos.
Is it?
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
Oh.
I sound very hollow.
You sound fine to me.
Yeah, you sound fine.
No,
you do sound soulless, but that's no different.
On the YouTube playback sounds funky.
Oh yes, the YouTube playback. Kevin, it was fine. But my 4th of July was fine. I was asleep before any fireworks went off. I'm an old man now. Oh, puking. Rainbow puke.
But it recovered on its own.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was hoping for.
Oh, yeah. YouTube is way fucked up.
If I do that.
We can go back to Skype.
No, it's not that. It's something on my computer's eating my CPU.
Yeah. Maybe you need to do a quick reboot.
Nom, 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 nom.
Oh, but you already started the stream. Shit.
Oh, wow. It's those browser pages are...
Sound fine, but how's our video? That's the question. Oh, you're on Twitch. They say on Twitch we sound fine. I wonder if our video's even better on Twitch. Maybe it's a problem with YouTube.
Nah.
No. It's
welcome.
It's my encoding rates. I'll put video bit rate 1200.
Yeah, the video's just.
All right, Stevie.
How's it look now?
Still looks
being frozen.
Twitch is looking all right. Twitch is looking all right, but my video keeps flashing. Like it looks like it keeps doing that puke flash on Twitch, but everything else looks okay.
Yeah, it's not. So right now you're smooth, but I'm not doing anything. Or am I really just that far delayed?
I'm not smooth.
Yeah, you're right. Now that I'm looking, even on Twitch, like only one of us move at a time. Only one of our videos move at a time. Control Z.
Why is it doing that?
I don't know, man. New stuff.
I know there's normally
This
a
was
delay
working
on
totally
YouTube,
fine
but it seems like an awfully long delay right now. I'm getting a lot of positives in Discord, thinking it's improved and fixed.
Okay, whatever.
Rainbow puke.
I say on Twitch, I've been rainbow puke now for a good 30, 40 seconds. I just
and
popped
on YouTube.
Back. Mm-hmm. What happened?
Issue. Come on. Think we'd figure this out. Don't be silly.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even know if we're recording or streaming anymore.
Yeah, we are.
And your rainbow puked again. What machine?
Why don't? Yeah. Are you running everything on the same machine, or did you try breaking up the different machines?
Everything's the same.
Oh. Try getting on different machines so you're not doing both.
I can't do that though.
Yeah, Kevin, that's the rainbow puke we keep talking about.
Yeah. Do you want to go back to Skype?
Nah, I'll just pay attention to when it's doing it and try and fix it.
Yeah, but the stream is. I mean, you're not seeing what's on the stream either. The stream, what I was showing in your OBS, bad things were happening in the stream.
Let me bump the bit rates.
Audio's good, video is hit or miss, Gishu says. He says audio's good, video's hit or miss.
How's
And that's what I'm seeing on.
I just made an update.
All right, well, it takes about 30 seconds to get to the stream. So right now, Twitch is pretty much frozen. Oh, no, I see eyeballs moving. Okay, we're all moving. I just picked my nose. Twitch seems way delayed, like majorly delayed.
Yeah, YouTube was like a full minute behind or more.
That's can't do much about that.
No, I know.
Still see.
I've never paid attention to how far delayed it was, but until now.
Ooh, see how long that takes. What time is it? 9:18. I just did that at 9:18. How long it takes.
When you're talking about trying to look at a minute, you really should look at 9:18 and how many seconds.
No, I'm telling you, it's like I'm not even worried about a minute. It's like 2-3 minutes behind. I still here. That's me saying it's way behind. I cover my camera here in a second.
Or a minute.
Yeah. Here we go. Nope, I haven't done it yet. I mean, there you go. That's a solid minute right there. And that's not even counting the seconds. So we're at least a minute behind. Okay, well, if we're good, it looks like Twitch is doing better. If you guys want to go ahead and get kicked off here, or?
But I saw your lifeline there, Eric. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared for you.
What?
On your hand when you did I don't know.
Yeah. I should have died last week apparently.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all.
It's gonna be one of those days. I have a feeling. We all set? Or do you want to mess with some more?
Oh yeah, let's just go. Let's just do it.
Doesn't get uglier than this.
You're listening to episode 244 of PHPUgly, reading the palm of PHP week after week. I'm your host, Eric Van Johnson, and with me is John Congdon.
I am the king of overpromising and underdelivering.
And Tom Right Up.
I am Tom.
Hear me roar.
No, just Tom.
Yeah.
So we need to tease the unboxing a little bit. I hope that's not what. No,
that's the over. I put it out there and like I see people retweeting like, oh crap, everyone's gonna be so underwhelmed. I think.
No, it's going to be awesome.
They're expecting me to break out a brand new Mac or something. It's not that.
I'm going back to the Mac. Back to Mac. That's John's slogan for 2021. Back to Mac. Tom, I think we have some talking to do. You said you had a crap load of PHP stuff this week, and I got to be honest with you, I got a crap load of stuff as well. So this should be chocked full of PHP goodness. That's all I'm expecting.
Well, that's not all you're going to get.
All right, let's start with everybody's week. Tom, how was your week?
It's been a little crazy and surprisingly short. This whole 4th of July thing has me thrown off quite a bit.
Why?
In a good way, like
because you got the day off.
Well, because I got the
you
5th
workless.
off.
Yeah.
So when it was the 6th, I was trying to figure out why it was Tuesday, because I didn't get the 5th off. Because if the 4th is the holidays, it's been.
Wait, did you work Monday or no?
I just got very confused all week. It's been a crazy week.
I'm still confused. Did you get Monday off or not?
I got Monday off.
You just said you didn't get the 5th off. I'm so confused.
But it was the 5th that I got off. But it was it was for the holiday of the 4th of July.
Welcome to the normal world.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
You could have just not got anything off since the 4th didn't fall during the week, and then you'd be complaining, "Oh, we should have gotten one day off."
I was just confused. That's all.
I didn't get the day off.
I totally forgot. I'm working. I'm like, where is everybody? Why aren't there anybody online right now?
I was here.
Yeah. All right. How about you, John? How was your week?
Long, because I worked on Monday.
Why did you work on Monday? It was a holiday.
Well, one, I own a business that doesn't
Is no
necessarily
holiday.
and, but in all reality, I'm taking off tomorrow and then all of next week. So I
Oh,
felt
right.
like
you're
I should put some time
traveling.
in. Yeah, I'm
Huh?
going to Florida.
Are you actually flying tomorrow?
I am flying tomorrow.
Okay. All right, well,
Yep.
safe travels, my friend. Safe travels.
Thanks. It'll be interesting. Going
Yeah.
back. I mean, we talked about on the show going back for my sister's celebration of life. It's kind of a big mix of things. It's that my niece's birthday is today, actually. So happy birthday, Destiny.
Yes.
So it was her mom that died. So we're going there for that. My nephew is going to the Air Force, I believe. So we're celebrating him and everything going on there.
Mm.
Just getting back together
Lots
with
of
family who I
things.
haven't seen in years.
Yeah. Yeah, my week went pretty good. Got some exciting news. I told you guys last week something exciting was happening, and it happened, and I still can't tell you about it. But it's exciting.
Oh my God.
I can tell you this, to John's overpromise, underdeliver. This is going to be, I think, it's something everybody who listens to the podcast will appreciate. And I am very, very excited to be part of this. So I'm looking forward to sharing it. We're not going to drag it out a lot. There's some technical things we have to take care of, but we're gonna move it along pretty quickly. So hoping to have something for you. I don't know, next week, week after.
I am
A
not
month
here
from now?
next week.
No John next week. So obviously because of John, I can't reveal it next week. So everybody tweet to John, tell him thank you for that. And yeah, that's that. Oh, and I told you I thought Taylor was ghosting me. Not only did he reply very nicely, I might add, but he even replied to some of my off the record questions, and I was very excited. And yes, they were Livewire specific. So
are they so off the record you can't talk about them on the show, or
yeah, because I told him it was
That's what
off the record.
means.
Yeah, that's kind of what off the record is. But
When the flashing light says that it's recording, that means we're on the record.
He was very, very nice to, because I you know, I do these interviews several ways. We'll do a video chat if the person wants to do a video chat, or we'll just do it over email. Typically when we do it over email, I'll create a Google Doc with a bunch of questions and then they go in and answer. It works pretty well. So I done my typical, questions. There are some very exciting news in this interview. So I can't reveal it, obviously, because I have to write it for PHP Architect, get it published. Then I'm sure everybody's subscribed to PHP Architect, so you all will see it when it comes out. But if you're not, I'll talk about it then. But there's some exciting news in there that I was very happy to see. But then, you know how I ramble. Like every week.
You've got two exciting things that you can't tell us about.
yeah, that's about what it was. I wanted to give Taylor props for, after all the questions I asked, I did a bunch of off the record stuff, and I'm like, hey, interview's over, this isn't for the article, I just had some questions for you, and he replied to all of them very, very thoroughly.
You and your wife swap keys. Huh?
You're creeping me out, man. Please stop.
Hey, you big fan of the 60s.
All right. Where's that mute button? I'm trying to find that. So I tweeted out today, and in doing that, I went to our YouTube page and saw how many subscribers we're at. Send out this tweet. It got retweeted a few times. I come in here and expect to have like 4 times the number of subscribers. Yeah, it hasn't moved a bit.
What are we at?
Please hit the subscribe button.
What are we at? What's our
377?
377. Yeah. All right. Killing it.
So we're gonna have to clickbait our titles a little bit more.
I know.
I'm suggesting Taylor finally responds. We go full YouTube drama.
Oh, wife swapping with the Otwells.
No, don't get us in actual trouble.
All right, Tom, I have a question for you. I have a few things that we can lead into this, but I'm just gonna raw dog it and just jump right into it with you, because it actually started with John, and John reminded me of it. So John hopped on code with me again this week. I took the initiative to start writing more tests for this very complex form that I was building with Livewire, and John jumped on and we worked through some testing challenges I was having. Very helpful. Thank you, John. But
you're welcome.
John, it was the code with me through PHP Storm, and John didn't have his Vim bindings, which I thought we had figured this out in the past, but I don't remember. So
it used to be available through the plugins in their little applet or whatever they have.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to the plugins and it wasn't there anymore. So I don't know what's going on in that thin client, they call it, not applet. I
did notice your thin client did have your theme though. It wasn't white. Like when I did it, my thin client was white. So when we shared, yours had the theme. But neither here nor there. John had to manipulate some text, and it took him a while because he didn't have his Vim bindings, and that got me thinking. So this is a scenario. John, feel free to jump in if you have a solution. I'm happy to hear it. I had not a problem. I had something that happened this week that, because of my knowledge of Vim, I wasn't overwhelmed with. It wasn't like fun. I mean, I guess it was kind of fun. But
quitting Vim.
But essentially, what I had is this complex form I'm working on had one of these choose what country you're in. And so I went out there and I'm like, I don't want to figure this all out. At first I looked for packages, but then I'm like, hey, you know what? I remember, what's his name? What's the Livewire guy's name? I always forget. Porzio. He had that sushi package that I was all up in arms with a while back that I still hadn't used. Basically, all sushi does is it allows you to define arrays, and it treats those arrays like eloquent models. You know, it's like as if they're a database call. So I'm like, okay, I want to use sushi because I don't want to create a table for this and manage a table for this and all this. I'll just throw all the countries in sushi. So I was looking for a good source of countries, and I'd come across this package that somebody had created to basically do the same thing, but again, it created a table in your database. So I'm like, all right, well, where is this guy putting all the countries at? And he had this big JSON file that was like 5,000 lines, because each country, he was doing things like, what's the citizenship? What's the flag? What's the capital? What do you call people in this country? I forget what the name. I mean, like each country had like 10 things in the JSON.
Sure.
So I'm like, all right, that's cool. I'm probably not going to use it, but it's cool to have. So I grab it. I grabbed the JSON. I needed it to be an array. That was pretty simple. That was just a simple search and replace. That's not, I mean, I did it in Vim, but that's not a Vim specific thing. So when I went to use it, Sushi started complaining. It said, hey, each element in your array needs to have the same amount of fields. I'm like, what? And so I'm looking, I'm like, okay, it's saying that, you know, my little chunks of data, each country has to have the same amount of fields in that section of the array. And I realized that this JSON, there would be like these odd countries that, you know, he wouldn't have some, like the I need 3 fields. I need the name of the country, I need the abbreviation of the country, and just because this person had had created these flag icons. I wanted the flag icon of that country. So where like 80% of the countries had like 10 fields, there would be these onesie twosies that didn't have 10 fields, and what they were missing weren't always consistent. So now in my Vim world, I'm like, oh, this will be fun. This will be pretty easy. So I created a macro that jumped into a set of the array, found the 3 fields I wanted, pushed them to the top of the list, and then deleted everything under it until the next array. Works perfectly. I end up running it like 200 or 300 times. I was actually surprised how many times I had to run it. And it went through the whole list and did everything. And it got me thinking, it's like, my God, what would I have done if I didn't know Vim at that time? And I thought, let me ask Tom, like, how would you have handled that, Tom, if obviously not being able to create those macros and stuff?
Before he does that, how did you run it 200 times?
I just said 200 at A was what I assigned to the macro. So I said 200 at A, and it just ran.
Okay, good.
It was funny because my wife was sitting with me at the time, and I run it, and I'm doing something, and she looks over at my screen. She goes, "Are you coding?" And I turned at her and I started typing, like acting like I was typing on my keyboard, like the hackers on TV. I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm coding." And my screen is just like flashing all this code and making all these changes. She just looked at me. She was.
I asked that because I've done it in the past where I've recorded my macro on A to do it one time, and then I would record macro B to do A 5 or 10 times, and then I'd run that a bunch, so that, because you always get to that end spot where there's only 5 left, but your macro is doing it 10 times.
10 times.
And you're like, so that's how I get around it. So I run B a bunch of times and then run A the last few that I need.
Yeah, so my 200 took me over a couple. Because the way it was written, it actually didn't matter because I was searching for the lines I wanted. Like each line, the one line was abbreviation. So I was doing a search for ABBR. I was doing a visual select of that whole line, copy. I jumped to the top bracket and pasted underneath. Then I looked for the name, did the same thing. So the fact that it looped back around didn't matter. It just, because it just ran through it and everything was fine, you know. But I did loop over it like I think it was like 5 or 10 times because I saw it come back around. I'm like, no. Oh, okay, it's fine. No worries. But I know exactly what you're talking about. So Tom, how would you have done that like without them? Like how would you have gone through that data set and cleared out all the components you didn't need and keep the ones that you did?
You're muted.
You're muted.
Pretty simple.
Okay.
I would write a short PHP script that just ran it and parsed it and then output the text and paste the text.
Yeah.
Or I'd have a macro in my IDE.
So you can build macros in your IDE?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I was asking. For me, it was no big deal.
Usually the format of it is enough that I can parse it with a find and replace, a regular expression of find and replace.
To a point, not with the way he described it, you don't exactly know what you're finding.
Right.
So with the power of them being able to just through keystrokes move things around, copy, paste, I can see how you would do that. You either just copy and then paste the 3 lines and then delete the ones that were duplicate, or just delete anyway. So a find and replace would be much harder to do, but writing a script to take your JSON and just pull out what you need is just as easy. Is it just as easy though? Because doing the them thing literally took me like. Well, yeah, I shouldn't say just
a minute.
I shouldn't say just as easy because when you know Vim is going to be easier, but parsing JSON and rewriting an array? It's easy.
But I know PHP, and I just pull up artisan. I do this with Tinker all the time. I don't even create a new file and execute it. I just run Tinker and do it in Tinker, because Tinker lets me debug it as I write it. So I could just like write it one line at a time and execute it, and Tinker comes back and says, hey, you got this part right, but this part's obviously wrong, or this is the wrong read format for your CSV file, or you didn't get the path correct. Like it outputs instantly what you got wrong.
So Tinker,
I just bash it in Tinker.
Tinker bootstraps a full Laravel stack, right? Versus
Yeah,
because you could do the same thing with basically with PHP-A.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I mean,
Tinker's got
I
the
use
full
that all the
stack.
time.
So if I wanted to, I could dump it into a collection and then each the collection and then have it do what I wanted the Laravel way.
So you're writing a little script so you could keep you're writing code so you can keep coding. That's sweet.
Yeah, I mean
That's sweet.
But isn't that what you're doing in Vim? Is you're writing code?
No, I'm doing my keystrokes. I'm just recording them, and then I tell Vim, okay, run those keystrokes another 10 times or another 20 times or whatever.
Yeah, I'm kind of doing the same thing in PHP.
Not even close to the same thing in PHP. Not even remotely. But I appreciate your effort in trying to make it sound that way. It's yeah. That was just one of those things.
Yeah.
That my fallback when I was thinking through it was, I guess I could have just kept it in the JSON format and then parsed it that way with another script, but that seems clunky as hell. And who the hell would do that? That would just be a pain in the ass. And it turns out people who don't use Vim do it. Makes perfect sense apparently for the non-Vim world. So good to know.
So ultimately, Sushi did what you wanted to do.
Yes, Sushi did make it super easy. The only problem I had, I discovered even with the debugging was that more with debugging testing, not so much with the Sushi part. It factored in a little bit, but not too much. This very you saw the form I was working with, John. All that data, it's this complex payment form basically where clients are putting in their tax IDs or their social security numbers and their bank information and this and that and the other thing. And the client wanted all that to be encrypted at rest. This actually, I meant to talk about this last week, was I was really proud of myself because I had created this trait because Laravel had this new encrypted function that you could use. And I had created this trait that I then used in my model, and it encrypted everything, all the fields that I wanted. And then somebody in our Discord, our lovely PHPUgly Discord, discord.phpugly.com, if you're not in there, somebody in our Discord is like, you can just like cast it to encrypted now, right? I'm like, what? I mean, obviously a wonderful idea. So yeah, I had to pull my little trait out, but yeah, I just casted everything to encrypted. So all these fields are encrypted now. And when I was doing my testing, so I don't know if you noticed in the testing, but even when I was doing my debugging, when I was doing my testing, I had a section where I forget exactly where it was, where all we were trying to do was make sure that the record that was entered in the database matched a given. And instead of just calling that like first name, with the match, I actually do it above. I basically call the model. I call a record for the model, and then I say, okay, now give me the first name, because that's the only way I could. That's the way Laravel will decrypt it for the application. You have to kind of put it in a collection first, and then call it from that collection. And I'm like, all right, this is kind of a pain in the ass. I can't even. Was I trying to search? Oh yeah, like I was trying to search I was trying to write a search for the table. But like whatever I'm searching for, you have to encrypt, and it has to be like the entire phrase because encryption, right? And it's just like, oh my God, this is a pain in the ass. Which, of course, it's security. It's meant to be a pain in the ass. So
you needed to be able to search on your encrypted fields.
Yeah, I was going to have that feature, but I decided not to worry. It wasn't something that the client requested, so I decided not to worry about it.
Yeah, because it's normally done not on the ciphertext. I think it's done on a hash. So you would need to store something to search separately.
I was under the impression it wasn't done because that completely breaks the idea of encryption.
To a point, there are times where you need to be able to search for things.
In that case, I would tag things and search tags. I would never search an encrypted value.
Well, I'm not.
How does the tags help?
I mean, you decide what. Because every way you make it more accessible, you make encryption weaker. So
no, I completely agree. But there are times where, hey, Tom, I need to be able to find you in my super secure system. What's your social security number? You know, I'm going to have it encrypted, but I need to be able to pull you up based on some identifier. So there are times where you need to.
Well, yeah, then that would be a hash.
The example. If you were to change your app key in Laravel, you lose all that data, which seems terrifying to me. But I guess it's just like one of those risks you take with this sort of architecture.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So you're encrypting the data before getting to the database versus the database doing encryption at rest. So there's various levels of encryption at rest, right? You have your on disk, it's encrypted at rest. I don't know what MySQL or AWS RDS offers as far as encryption at rest, but I'm assuming as long as you have access to that server, you have access to the data. And then there's the whole encrypting it, decrypting it before you put it into the database. So it's encrypted at rest, but it's just various degrees of it.
Did our stream just go down, Tom? You're muted.
What? Why would it go down? There's no reason it would go down.
I've been having problems with that Cat 5 for a while.
Wow.
Does that mean
like 8 now?
Does that mean that it started a new YouTube, or did it just pick up where it was?
OBS said it recovered.
Hey, if somebody in Discord can let us know, did you just keep watching the stream? And all you audio listeners, hey, life's good for you, right? You didn't miss anything. So it picked up where it was. Thanks, Keishu. Appreciate that. Sorry, John, didn't mean to cut you off there. Yeah,
no,
yeah.
It's fun.
So yeah, that was actually one of the things the client wanted it so that this is not to imply this is what you were talking about. I understood what you were talking about, but the client wanted it so that they can't read the data, and anybody who has access to the database, like other developers specifically, cannot read the data. They would have to know what the production API key is for the server, which they have division of responsibilities. So like they're in general, their developers don't have that sort of access. So I thought that was, I was happy to see that. I'm like, wow, I didn't realize it was that easy to use this. We need to implement this more. And I'm looking forward to doing that.
Especially because it's not, you're not having to encrypt the data yourself. It's part of Laravel. And you tell it which fields to encrypt and which ones not to.
It's just a cast in your model. You do a model cast, and you say bank account. You cast it to encrypt it. It's that's all you do. And even when you do Tinker, you're in Tinker and you pull up data. That, like I said, that initial collection, everything's encrypted. It doesn't decrypt it until you ask for that specific field. So you do, bank account, arrow. account number sort of thing, and then it would actually show you what that account number is. So yeah, it works really well. I don't know. Like I said, I ran into a couple hiccups debugging. I ran into a couple hiccups when I was trying to write tests, but it was, they weren't roadblocks. It was just a matter of, oh yeah, that's right. This data is encrypted. I have to take an extra step or two to get it to a point where I can actually test against it and see what was actually in there.
Well, it sounds like you have a way to then have a test to show that it is encrypted as well.
Hey, yeah, that's brilliant, man. I guess I need to add that to my test suite. Yeah, you're right. Make sure those fields are encrypted. Yeah.
Because if you're able to pull the record and it doesn't decrypt it until you do something specific.
Is encrypted in your test suite with Laravel? Because that would be awesome. I'm gonna look that up while you guys carry the show. It is encrypted.
I actually believe I have that.
It is encrypted would be perfect. Actually, what do you think?
I believe I have is.
You have what?
I believe I have is encrypted.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you going to share the link or anything, or?
I have to look. Hold on.
Oh, I thought you were saying you had it as you had it up. Oh, sorry.
No, I think I have it in my test suites.
I'm doing a quick Google search for it. I'm not finding anything specifically.
So with all of your testing lately, Eric, are you a convert? Are you going to continue doing it, or is it still
I'm getting there. I mean, I got to be honest. I struggled a little bit with the hours I charged the client for all those tests I wrote, because it was like, God, like it took me as long to write these tests as it did to write like a page or two of the logic. But again, especially in this situation, with the complexity of the form and stuff, if they ever break that, they need a way to test it, right? They need to understand the different conditions and all that. So I'm getting there. I need to get more efficient at it, and obviously you were helping me with the providers and all that. I think that's one of the things where, like, my mental thought process broke down with testing. It's like, okay, there's a lot of things I want to test. Like, I don't want to just test this one thing, and you've kind of helped me with that.
It's a great thing, especially if you know the business logic. It's not necessarily in code terms, but in business terms, where they're like, I want, in this, when given these sets of circumstances, here's what should happen. And you had that perfect thing. Are they a citizen? Are they an individual? Are they a business? You have all of these layers. Are they choosing bank account or credit card? And based on when you're given all of this, what happens? And being able to show that. And sometimes it helps you ask better questions to the client. Well, what happens in these circumstances? And then you have tests that prove that based on what they gave you, you're doing the right thing. Now, there's going to be cases in between there that they may not have spelled out for you that you also missed during testing, but hopefully not. Hopefully you can figure out what those edge cases are and get around those.
And you actually helped me identify one of them with the testing, which was, what if data is submitted for one of the conditions that it shouldn't be submitted with? And does the Laravel validation? I was specifically using, I forget what it's called. Is if there's a validation
except if.
Yeah, except if, where you can say, validate this field except if it meets a condition, like another field is set to something else. So I had set this this pretty complex validation schema up for this pretty complex form, And when we're going through the testing, John's like, "Hey, well, what if somebody submits data for a condition that condition shouldn't have that data?" I'm like, "Well, I just assumed at the time I just assumed that Livewire or Laravel, or more specifically Livewire, I guess, would not pass any data that wasn't being validated, because in Livewire world, when you're working with data that's been submitted, Livewire insists that data be validated. Otherwise, it won't pass it through. So it'll say, "Hey, you've tried passing data to me that you didn't try to validate, so I'm not accepting this." So I was hoping that with that except if, Livewire would have said, "Okay, this data was passed to me, but because of this condition, I'm not going to validate it, so I'm going to disregard it." That turned out not to be the case, and that data was getting through. Now, for this particular use case, it's not a big deal. It doesn't actually matter. But if
it doesn't, except it causes data inconsistency in your database. So
right.
I just want to reset the stage. When we were talking about Livewire, you were so excited about when you change these radio buttons, all the fields changed. And you went on further to say, not only did it's not that they're just hiding them, they're gone. They don't even get submitted, which made me think, well, what happens if I write a post using Postman or just a direct curl call or whatever, I post the data to your server that Livewire had just taken off the page? Because yes, Livewire itself isn't going to submit it, but it doesn't stop me from submitting whatever the hell I want to submit to your form. So that's what you're testing. And now you're saying that the form, Laravel, has nothing to do with Livewire at this point. Laravel accepts that data and doesn't validate it. Doesn't validate it at all anymore, right? Because you have an except if.
That's a good question. I don't know. And now that you say that piece, I don't know if it does. I should test that, because that is, I mean, that seems like a flaw. That seems like a flaw in that workflow if it doesn't still validate it.
Yeah, I've never seen the except if, so I'm wondering if there's a way to say, in these situations, I want to null it or empty string or whatever the case is. Like,
that seems,
it's not valid
like
data.
That would be better, yeah. So that's where I was going. Like, if I was concerned about it, that's all I would have to do is I would basically have to write that same logic in my code of the where I did the except if. So say, hey, if this condition is met and these fields are basically unset these fields. I'm not even going to look to see if they're set or not. Just null out these fields is what I was the route I was going to go down. But you bring up an interesting point of, no, that's a basic flaw to that exception in the validation field now, because if you have that exception in there, but that field's still being passed, that data should not be going through to your application.
Yeah, I would need to. I want to see more of what the except if what the original intention was, because in your use case, I don't want the data at all, but there's got to be other reasons that it was added in there, where like it's got to be less than $100 except in this scenario, I would assume something like that.
Yeah, it really does set off some alarm bells. You know what else sets off alarm bells?
What, Tom?
HoneyBadger transforms you into a DevOps hero by combining error, uptime, and cron monitoring into a single, easy-to-use platform. Stop wasting your time tailing logs and deploy with Swagger. Visit honeybadger.io today to level up.
Thanks, HoneyBadger.
HoneyBadger.
HoneyBadger, the official sponsor of PHPUgly.
This is all I'm here for now, is just that the segues into ads and tinkering with the video feed the entire time.
You found your lot in life. It's not a lot, but it's your life. I'm looking for that. Oh, here it is. Exclude, not accept. Exclude if. Exclude if and exclude unless are the things we're talking about. Let me add this.
Yeah, and I always have those in my request objects.
What that validation?
Yeah, all that validation should be in your request object.
But even still, there's still confusion around the exclude if and exclude unless. Is it it's excluding validation so the data still gets in there? In which case you're not doing any real validation on?
Well, when I use my validator, I only act on the validated fields that are returned by it. So
well, aren't you just? But you can still. I don't know how you're doing it, Tom, but a typical developer would just act on like the request, like you validate everything in the request, and then if that validation passed, then later down the line, you're saying, okay, give me that request back and give me what, sometimes you're just doing a create off the request, right? So I don't know.
Right, but I use the validated method on the request object, which will only return the fields that matched your validation. So you can
this is what we're talking about, though.
Right, you can have rules such as sometimes or sometimes if.
Oh, I think I see what he's saying here.
When you're doing your validation, those won't necessarily throw an error, but they will trim the field out.
Well, no, sometimes it's different though. Sometimes it's saying if this field's here, validate it. If it's not, don't. Exclude if. Go ahead,
but what he's saying is when you go to create your record, are you passing in the request data or are you passing in the request validated data? I think that's the difference. But since you're not validating, since you're saying exclude if, that means I don't want to validate it, so it won't be part of your validated collection that comes back.
Right.
And that's what you should be passing.
Theory. I don't think that's correct, though. This is what I one of the things I thought I had tested.
So why am I going to be gone for a week?
So you have homework.
Yeah, I'll work on it.
I have homework too, because your video feed, if you don't know, if you're watching the video feed and you don't know this, every time there's a small glitch on Eric's feed, I have to press a button to fix it because I'm using.
This is his punishment for hitting the mute button one too many times last week. Now he has to hit. If he wasn't hit a button, he's got another button he can hit now. Jesus. Hey, we're late. We've been rambling. I got a list of shit to talk about. Tom said he had a full show of PHP stuff.
Well,
and
I've got one thing first.
Have an unboxing to get to. We have an unboxing to get to. Don't make me wait. Okay, make me wait, Tom.
One of the reasons we're using all new software is because Skype sucks. But we've also been using Zencastr for a while to capture our audio because capturing locally with something like Audacity was causing our videos to be out of sync and causing just editing issues, editing headaches. Zencastr had the same problem for a while, but appears to have completely fixed it. We love it now. It always seems to work. We don't have to worry about it.
Not a sponsor.
But now I'm glad that we got away from Audacity because Audacity is officially spyware.
I saw this somewhere.
Yeah.
Audacity was open source free software, got purchased by somebody, and in the 3.0 version, they're just now scraping telemetric data and have said they plan to use it in marketing and making money and that kind of thing. So very upsetting.
What's even more upsetting is I still use Audacity to do the editing of the podcast. So I'm going to need to find something else, I think. I'm sure the open source community will rally and come up with something.
And what a perfect name for a product that dares do this to its customers.
The Audacity.
the goddamn Audacity.
Well, it sounds like you could just stay on Audacity 2.x, Eric, and you'll be good.
I'm guessing someone's going to fork this because no one's going to work on an open source project that's trying to monetize people like this.
Yeah.
There's reports that the information is definitely enough to identify which user created a recording. So like, weirdly dangerous stuff.
But it's okay if they attach it to an NFT, and then it's good.
Yeah.
Then you make money off it. While John is getting his unboxing ready, Tom, why don't you throw up our Patreons, our Patreon subscribers? Because if you're not aware, I do show notes. I actually have a little script that does show notes, by the way, which works out pretty well for me. It's done a pretty solid job for me. But all of our Patreon supporters now are in our show notes. So every week, I go back to the YouTube that we created, and I go in. Obviously, with Simplecast, I add the show notes, which are just the links you see that show up in Discord, and some blurb about what we talked about. And now our sponsors are in there. They've been in there for a while, and now a list of all the people who are Patreons on Patreon. All right, John, what are you opening though?
I have no clue. Okay, I do know some of it. So we.
Please don't stab yourself in the chest live on stream. I would really appreciate it. Do you not have a box cutter, you animal? Jesus.
Why would I have a box cutter in my office? So first we have a lot of Poppy stuff. My kids are gonna love that. How many stickers? How many stickers did you order?
They're not stickers. It's tape. It's PHPUgly tape.
For shipping stuff?
Why did you get PHPUgly tape?
Why wouldn't you get PHPUgly tape? I got it because it's ugly tape, man.
Hey, look, wait, hot sauce for you.
Hey, cool. I get some of the hot sauce. Awesome. I forget. I ordered something else. Oh, that's right. Special PHPUgly envelopes to mail our Patreon reward to.
That is actually going to be coming very handy here. So not this week, not next week, but the following week, I'll get all that out.
Oh yeah, you're going out. Of course, you're going out a week.
Wait, was there supposed to be more?
Yeah, there was supposed to be the new Uggo stickers.
Nope, they're there. My bad.
What is that?
Oh my gosh!
Holding up.
I'm getting there. I don't know.
Okay,
so there's just a lot of envelopes. New
PHPUgly stickers. Yeah, that turned out okay. I'm all right with that.
No. All right. And
what then, did you need something else?
That is great.
So that's the packing tape. I don't know what this is.
I don't think I ordered anything else.
Well, you must have. A whole lot more stickers.
Oh.
Yeah, more PHPUgly stickers.
Oh, those are the new logo stickers that we don't have those. So I had ordered the old PHPUgly stickers that have the elephant on it, and I ordered new ones that have the die cut.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, baby. So there's the die cut one and there's the circle one, but if you look at the circle one, they're kind of jacked up, and it wouldn't let me pull the order out. So I just went ahead and kept it.
What do you? Oh yeah, it's off center a little bit.
Because Tom is talking about his stupid microwave, and it like pulled that into. So I went with that. I'm like,
that in years. Okay.
Shit, I should have made a die cut, and so I went back and added some die cuts to it.
Turned out really well.
That does look good. Cool.
Although it does look like, I just realized it looks like a dog paw print.
A little bit.
Now that's all I see. Thank you very much.
All right, I'll get this stuff in the mail in about 6 months.
Wow.
See, I told you.
Why the hurry?
Overpromise, underdeliver.
So you like the envelopes? It's funny because you and I got that book in the mail, and I don't know if you noticed, but he had his logo on the tape.
Yeah.
Or at least on mine, he had his logo on the tape that he had closed. I'm like, damn, I had already ordered ours. I'm like, damn, that looks better than I thought it would. I'm glad I ordered that stuff now.
Although
You tell them.
Although
You bark.
if I'm shipping out in these, whoops, now my dog's gonna rip that up. In these little envelopes, I don't need the tape.
Oh, do they have a little sticky? The sticky.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you still put some tape on there. You just like
Here's some tape.
all
Here's
the
some tape.
stickers. Tape all the stickers together. Like let them dig them out.
There's going to be some criminal investigation where they're just baffled at why someone would have custom printed tape to gag somebody.
It's because their microwave is filming them.
We believe the microwave reference is code for something.
All right, now my desk is a mess again.
Eric,
Darryl Data has posted it looks like a fork of Audacity called what's that?
Tenacity.
Oh, Tenacity. Yeah. That makes much more sense.
I would have
That
called
is
it
funny.
politeness or I don't know. I give up.
What are you gonna say, Tom?
You have NoSQL experience.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the items I would like to talk about, but I will let you finish first.
So I was going over something with my boss the other day where we're generating these reports, taking a lot of data and boiling it down into, something manageable. And I thought, well, instead of adding a column for all of these values that we're going to be producing, why not generate report JSONs that are stored in a NoSQL database?
That's actually a very common practice. Yep.
Yeah. And he said, why not use the JSON column in MySQL and just create a table for it?
I mean, that's a route you're more than welcome to take. So keep in mind, I still haven't used it this way, but MySQL 8, the JSON column type was introduced before MySQL 8, but MySQL 8, which obviously still has it, doubles as a document store as well. Now, I still don't have experience using MySQL 8 as a document store, but that is one of its features. It's leaning into this no structured data set approach that people are taking.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, again, reasonable, especially if you have like UUIDs, where it's like, okay, this report is related to this product or whatever, whatever. So yeah, that's an approach. Yeah.
You didn't like that, Tom? I take it.
Well, why wouldn't you want to use MySQL? Why would you want to use Couch or Mongo or Dynamo?
Oh, great. Glad you asked. So we actually, one of the exciting things we have now officially in Diego Dev created it, architected it, and managed it, but it belongs to one of our clients. We have a CouchDB cluster out there now for a project we've been working on. Now we've been slowly introducing Couch for a long time to this client, and we finally got this project, this application where it just really made a lot of sense. So to answer your question, there's a lot of answers to that question. The reason we went Couch for this particular project, so Couch has this ability, or I'm sorry, NoSQL Datastores have this ability, right? Where their real strength, the place they really shine is synchronizing data. And there's this concept called eventual consistency, which sounds very counterintuitive. It's like, what do you mean eventual consistency? I don't want eventual, I want consistency. The idea being, and one of the ways we're using it is the main application is a mobile application. And it runs on a phone for these. It's for parking enforcement. We've talked about this in the past, and the clients using it will have these intermittent periods where they're like underground in a garage or in a building where they don't have internet access. So with this architecture, the application actually synchronizes a filtered down version of the entire database for that, not only that client, but that particular user. So John, as a user doing parking enforcement, has access to certain data, and we can write filters that will synchronize all that data to him. Not on, when he's online and when he's not online. So as he's walking around, he's getting updates as long as he has connectivity. The moment he doesn't have connectivity, the application continues to work. It has in the mobile world, it's called a PouchDB, I think is what it is, PouchDB. And this is specifically because we've gone the route of Couch. There's a reason we went with that. I've talked about it before in the show. I'll circle back around on it. So he now, even though he's completely offline, he has a working database which was current the moment he went offline. So he can add things and remove things and all that. The moment he gets back online, it all synchronizes back up. And this is flawless. It just works beautifully. Now,
not flawless, but it works great.
Don't step on my thing. Don't. It does work. Now, that's not to say there aren't ever conflicts. There is conflict resolution, but Couch specifically does a really good job at handling most of it. We actually haven't run into synchronization conflicts yet, but there are edge cases where it could be possible that could happen. So I'm not trying to say.
Yeah, for the most part, if I am writing to my own database on my phone and it's synchronizing back to the central server, you're not going to have those types of issues. Mm-hmm. It's going to be more of an issue of if I'm online on two separate phones and I update or change the same record on both phones offline, once they come online and they try to merge back, there could be merge conflicts.
Yeah. The bigger example that gets used a lot is if you're continuing to use the device offline for like 6 months, like for whatever reason, you didn't realize that it wasn't connected to the internet, or you put the phone, so you always put the phone in the basement and the next guy picks it up and it never gets connectivity. There are these edge cases where, it's being used for, it hasn't been online for such an extended amount of time and so much data has changed, including records of what they've changed on their phone. Yeah, there could be some.
One sec, Eric. Pause for 1 second. I am working on it.
Yeah, he's saying over here.
Come on.
He didn't hit the rainbow puke button. He hit the turn Eric off button.
Really did. Please tell me I didn't just kill this completely.
What did you do? And the show grinds to a halt.
Really? I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get this thing working and...
Should he leave and come back in?
No.
No.
I think this built-in browser is.
Eric, you can drive over to my house and just kind of hang out behind me. Showing Eric's
It just
feed.
looks. Yeah, it just looks like
Yeah.
the screen died.
Yeah, we're only showing Eric's.
Sorry for the delay, guys.
And gals.
Guys and gals and everyone, dudes. You know, it's funny though, is that Skype is actually so bad that this is still better. You know,
Well, maybe
they
he's
say
not.
never work on production.
How can you still hear us? You're not in here.
That might explain why he was getting codec errors the whole time. Is there a reason he's not rejoining?
I don't know. Maybe it was his end the entire time.
I don't think it is. I think it's my end, but
He says he's in here.
he is not.
Eric, I do not see you in here.
Let me.
Well, this has been a fun end of the show.
Spontaneous.
I guess we didn't have to completely end it. We could have kept going, but Eric, have you tried turning it off and back on?
I
You still have the Skype version?
Yeah. All right. Join up on Skype then. It looks like there's some kind of issue.
So, oh, Eric's saying no, wait.
I'm going to try and reconnect because I'm seeing a different issue here. One
All
second.
right, I'm just gonna chill right here. Assuming you can still hear me, darling data. I don't know. I'm okay with GitHub Actions. I usually do it all in one. I haven't tried splitting it up and figuring it out from there. But it'd be pretty easy to do. I'm just talking to myself.
Sorry about this. We're still working on it. Should just take 1 more minute. We're going to get connected back on Skype. Hey, that is the wrong microphone.
That fucking Skype, man. Hate Skype. All right, there's that.
Okay.
Video?
Yeah, that's a good question. Where's the video?
Do you still have the browser open with OBS Ninja?
Yes.
You have to close that because it's stealing your video.
There we go.
Hey. Same for you, John.
Audio is not great for me, but it'll get us through. All right, I think I'm set up now. As much as we complain about it, here we are back.
Yes. What you don't know is that Microsoft bought OBS.Ninja and crashed it once they found out we were using it. We can't tolerate this kind of behavior.
I cannot hear you guys at all.
Uh-oh. Check your headset settings, because we hear you. I mean, we're really just doing this just to wrap up the show. Hey, I can hear Eric. Is that really something to cheer for, Kevin? I mean, you need to ask yourself that.
Well.
All right.
Oh, you can
that's
hear us
better.
now?
There you go.
No video, though.
I can hear you. Why is my camera not working? I see my camera in Skype.
Yeah, his video's in Skype. I can see him. Oh, god damn it.
Anyways.
Boy,
What was
this
I
has
saying?
been fun. MongoDB.
So yeah, CouchDB.
Yeah, that is a compelling
right.
use case. You were talking about the sort of eventual consistency, the synchronization, and I do like that a lot.
Yeah, so even the developers working on it who didn't have experience were blown away with, like, the entire database. It's doing this clustering thing, and when it spins up a new database, it synchronizes itself, and the synchronization process happens so quickly, it's insane. But the other thing about CouchDB specifically, this isn't true with Mongo or any of the others, and the reason why we went this route is that there are no drivers for it. The entire CouchDB protocol is over HTTPS, right? So any device that knows how to talk to HTTPS can consume data from a couch.
So how do you secure that
source.
through?
And if you start to think about it,
How do you
it
secure
blows
that through
your mind.
Laravel?
I don't understand the question.
You
What do you
only
mean?
want
How do
a
you
user to
secure it?
access their pertinent records, and they have a
Mm-hmm.
Laravel account with your core infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
How do they, if they're connecting straight through HTTP to the CouchDB server, how do you authenticate them?
Well, they don't connect to the CouchDB server. I mean, they're still connecting.
I thought they were
not
connecting
following
to
your
the server.
question, but they're still. Well, so I think you're talking about the device scenario, right? Where they have a subset of the data. So it works off permissions the same way. They only see the data they have permission to.
But does that tie in with the Laravel
So
system?
there's a whole permission. Well, again, it's not specific to Laravel. It's all over HTTPS. So yeah, you have to explain to Laravel, hey, this user, we need to get their permissions and all that. So there is a process involved. There are no drivers, I guess. Maybe that's where you're going. There's no Laravel driver. I think a couple people have written drivers to make, that was more to make interacting with Couch more like an eloquent model, which, if you recall, that was one of the things I was using Sushi for as well, which was pretty cool.
Right. But I think he was more. Yeah, it was more of how do you enforce authentication? How do you make sure that you're only syncing down the proper subset of data and not everybody's data?
It's the same concept as you would with any database, right? It's just permission management. Now, Couch, since you're not like, you're not pulling a user record from the database. I mean, technically you could, really, but you don't have to. Basically, the way we're handling a lot of it is through like the implementation of filters and views and stuff. There's these other concept of what data is viewable and what makes that data viewable to people. So there's a lot of concepts to get into. I know we're running long.
We're not running that long.
But,
we just had a slow start and a 20-minute break in the middle.
Yeah. And again, that's all Couch specific, but the idea of document stores in general, which is something I think you're leaning more towards your initial question, Tom. I'm glad I was able to give you some use cases for it. But it's that concept of a document is just a document. So say you have a client, right? And I'm doing all this stuff off the cuff, right? But you're keeping records of your client, and each client doesn't necessarily have all the same data. Maybe these guys have social media accounts. Maybe these guys have, government security accounts, and the type of data that's related to those individual clients are not normalized. But you still need it. You still want it. That's where document stores come into really, really shine, because the document has no structure. It's weird to think about that as developers who have worked with relational databases for 10, 20, 30 years. It's weird to think about data that doesn't have structure. But if you think about data, and I always use the analogy of a filing cabinet filled with records, right? Those records don't have the same amount of information. They don't have the same fields on them, but they're all records of important data that you need to have. That's what document stores are. So you have this client over here that has, information related to their government clearance. You have this client over here who has information about their Instagram and Twitter account. And it's like, if you were to create columns for all this, it would be a pain in the ass. You can create what we do. One of the patterns we use a lot still with MySQL is we have these JSON meta columns, which is basically, hey, here's all the standardized data we need for the company, and here's this meta field of whatever else that company might need to make. Well, document stores are that to an extreme. This challenge you have as a developer and the mindset you have to get into is then now a lot of the normalization and security of that data now falls on the shoulder of the developer and not some database administrator. So validating data and making sure it's the correct data type and all that stuff really falls into the code now, that you have to make sure, hey, if I'm inserting a price, I as the developer, I need to make sure that price is an integer or whatever. Because you got to remember, it doesn't have to be. It could just be the symbol $9.00, and it could just be a string. And that's valid data in the document store. But from a developer's perspective, you want that to be the integer of 900 because you break everything down to cents, and that's how you work with it in your application. That responsibility now falls on you as a developer. There's no data integrity enforcement that can be coded into that can be part of the database. So these are different paradigms in development that you have to keep in mind. But the trade-offs, the benefits you get of, I don't need to worry about what my database needs to look like 5 years down the line. I don't need to make sure that I have all the fields that I need, 2-3 years from now. I have a document store that stores all this information. I break that information up differently. So instead of having 10 tables, company name, a phone number table, because companies can have like 5 phone numbers associated to them. I have a social media table. Instead of having all these tables, you have one document now. Or you can have multiple documents. There are no rules, but you can have one document and all that information is in that document. So you as a developer, hey, if I need this information, I get this document and I have all that information. The other really cool thing about document stores, CouchDB being one of them, is that it tracks changes. So Couch does event sourcing. So as these documents are changing, there is an event store that's saying, hey, this document's on version 10.4. What version do you have? Well, I have version 9. Well, okay, I've got 2 versions past that I can give you. Here's what changed. It's not going to just give you the document. It's going to say, okay, this field was changed, and this is what changed it, and da-da-da. So there's a lot to document stores. I'm not saying they're the answer to everything, and that's one of the arguments.
Our developer would say that.
Yeah, that's one of the arguments the developer has. I sit there and say, give me a use case of where a document store makes sense, and he'll say, give me a use case where a document store doesn't make sense. and we just go back and forth like that. So it's cool.
What is that?
Tom, where did you end up? You were trying to use it for reporting. Did it get shut down, or you said they wanted you to use a JSON column? Take your time. I'll wait.
Yeah.
Tom, can you hear John?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to. So you brought up the event sourcing thing, and that immediately got me on a browser looking at it. So we ended up saying we don't need a full document store right now, but I believe that storing the data as a JSON document in MySQL gives us the flexibility of moving to a document store in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And Laravel has some nice casting functionality for JSON columns in tables, so it lets us program as if the document store was there. But for now, I think we're gonna just do it in MySQL. Now we're on 5.8, so we don't have access to all the fancy JSON functionality that MySQL offers.
Right.
But you have
Right, which I
JSON column
guess is
type.
just a blob. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, but
Basically.
it's not just a blob, but yeah,
Yeah.
basically it is. We actually use for the show here, we use CouchDB. Well, I'm sorry, for Diego Dev for our website, we use CouchDB. It goes out. We have a table for the PHPUgly podcast. We have not a table. We have a database for the PHPUgly podcast, a database for the PHP podcast for PHP Architect, a database for our blog posts. We have all these sources of information that we pull in, and again, because it's not a structure issue, I just put it all in a Couch database, and then on the Diego Dev website, I go to that Couch database and say, okay, give me the latest PHPUgly show, give me the latest PHP podcast show, give me the latest blog post, and then give me 3 random other blog posts from our blog, and I get to go to one place. I get to address the data stores there and get that information. Now I'm not writing anything back. It's just a nice central location for me to consume multiple feeds instead of going to 3 or 4 different places trying to figure out their structure. I just pull in the database types. I put it in a JSON format in my database and go at it. It's fun stuff, man. It's really fun once you get involved with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at if the AWS version DynamoDB supports this stuff.
So DynamoDB, I think DynamoDB is a key value store. So it is the same concept of a document
Just a
store,
key
but I think
value
it's
store.
just, I think all you do, I think that's what the DynamoDB is. I lose track of what all the freaking Amazon.
Yeah, it looks like they want you to use Hadoop to do MapReduce.
Dynamo.
So it's just a store.
Yeah. So when you say document store, it's actually a very broad term, but and everybody has like their different hook. Like Mongo, I think, is the only document store that's ACID compliant, which is typically something reserved for relational databases. And again, Mongo, you will typically see a lot of drivers for. Like I think there's a Laravel driver for it, and a few others. What's the other one out there? There's another one out there that's really popular, but Couch has just worked for us really well. It just kind of really hits a sweet spot for simplicity and
there's Couch, Mongo, Hadoop.
I think Hadoop is more like
Redis
you said,
is a key value
MapReduce,
store,
isn't it? Yeah, Redis is a key value store. Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's cool stuff. It took me a long time to get my head around. Like it was one of those things like I felt like it was a good solution, but I couldn't work out in my head where it made sense. And now it's become a lot easier. And as we get more developers on board, like the person who took over the development for this from the Laravel side, I mean, he just laid into it and really got his head around it. He went from 0 to probably not 100, but he went from 0 to like 98 within like a week. And he went from, I'm not sure about this, I'm not really sure if I'm doing it right, to this is really cool. There are a lot of other places we can be using this. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Gesundheit.
Just barely got that mute button.
So, yep. All right. We probably need to wrap up, but let's touch. I did want to touch on a blog post came out about what's new in Laravel
PHP
8.1. Have you guys? What did I say? I said Laravel. Yeah, you're right. Jeez, I got Laravel on the head. Laravel 9 was announced that they're gonna not release it to January, so that's kind of cool. But okay, no, PHP 8.1 is coming out. There's a blog post out there. It should be showing up here in Discord momentarily. If you're not in our Discord, you should think about joining. We sit there all week. People listening to the show, they'll be in there. We chat all week long. They give us ideas. They ask questions. They just have general great conversations. They tell me what an idiot I am with development and how I went way out of my way creating traits where it's just a simple cast now. It really is a resource to use with development. But PHP 8.1, is there anything in here that has you guys excited?
Enums.
Enums? I am
Enums
with
are
you on the
cool.
enums. Yeah.
I've been using enums not in this form, so I think that will make the code that I do use a little easier.
Mm-hmm.
And just move it more towards the language level than userland level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Were you gonna say something else?
Read-only properties. It looks like
That
the
looks
thing
really
that's
cool.
it looks like the thing
That
that's
was
going to
interesting.
pass.
Yeah.
There's some other stuff that definitely isn't going to pass. But read-only properties are interesting because it opens up what an interface is all of a sudden. It does a lot of interesting stuff. So there's a lot of conversation in internals right now about an RFC to allow defining properties in abstracts and interfaces.
Interesting. I'm not sure. I realize we've been off track a little bit, and I didn't have time to queue this up. But do either one of you guys really understand the pure intersection types?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I mean, I think I get it. Where it's like, if I'm understanding it correctly, it's like you say, you can pass a request and say, hey, by the way, this request should have this and this in it. But I was just wondering, why would you do that instead of just saying, okay,
this
pass,
is a pretty simple
request.
This is actually a
title,
pretty simple
request
one. So by default, the Laravel user model has the authenticatable trait associated with it. And it also has the serialized model trait associated with it. So you might have a function that uses authentication and model serialization, and you want to make sure that when an object gets passed into it, you can do both things to it. So this just ensures that functionality, that type, is an aspect of the model being passed in. Versus union types, which said one or the other. It has to be one of these. Pure intersection types means it has to be both.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even read that one. That looks pretty cool. I like the new in the initializers, which would be really cool. So basically, currently, if you have something like a logger that is not required, you often initialize it as new. So if it doesn't get passed in, it's null. And then in your code, you might say, if logger is null, logger equals new null logger. Yeah. Where now you can just put that straight into the constructor and say, logger equals new null logger. So basically, if it doesn't get passed in, it becomes that. It just removes an if
statement. I think that falls under syntactic sugar, where it's syntactic sugar. It's also, it tightens up your controllers. If you have a lot of things coming in and you're checking, like, if this is null, then I want something there. I don't want to, throughout my class, say, if logger log this. I just want to log it and have a null logger that doesn't do it. No, I mean, I get it.
In most cases.
I mean, if it's really a big benefit to you, then there's a code smell for you.
No, I disagree.
The never
You're
type,
wrong.
is a nice, strong new type.
Stupid.
It's not
Stupid.
It's not stupid, but no, it's
Yep, stupid.
it means
Your code should not exit.
sometimes it should.
Very rarely should it exit.
Some shell scripts should just exit 1 or exit 0.
I disagree. Shell
Some of
scripts,
them,
yes.
I mean, sometimes.
Most of us
Kevin in our Discord brings up fibers. I think fibers is probably something 90% of us will never
I'd say
touch.
99.9. The issue with fibers in this implementation is that it produces fibers as available to very, very, very low level coding. There needs to be a lot of work done on frameworks or on additional implementation of I/O management code for fibers to be useful. So as it stands, it's a preview feature. It's not actually going to be something you want to use. And if you think you want to use it, you don't, and stop. Because I've looked at this in depth, and you don't want to use it right now.
Unless you want to just play with new stuff, then go for it.
Even then,
I'm not going to
it's just
judge.
going to give you a headache.
All right, we should probably wrap up.
Real quick, I am worried about the breaking changes personally. I don't know that it's going to affect me, but I still use a library that was written for PHP 4 that I've bastardized to make work in 7.4, and it makes heavy use of globals.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that it will be affected, but I need to go look at it, because this is more the backwards breaking change in 8.1 is you can't operate on the entire array, so you can't like reset globals in general. You can't say, hey, it's a fresh array and basically get rid of everything. I don't think that's happening in the code base.
You're not worried about auto vivification?
I'd have to reread that. I forget what it is. Oh, actually, yes, I am.
I'm very
worried
worried
about that to a
this
point.
one.
So,
what is it?
So what it does is there's these cases where you can cast a variable as false and then reference it as an array to add values to it. And PHP will ditch the false and turn it into an array. This is considered bad. So if you declare a variable as something other than an array and try to append to it, it should throw an error, which it will now. So it's if you have code where you're defining properties as this array equals false, and then later on you don't recast it, you just append to it, then it will throw an error now. And I have definitely seen a lot of code that does that.
Well, I think it's going to be deprecated, not burned to the ground. So you'll get deprecation errors, but it's not. I don't know why it's under backwards breaking. Or maybe it's not.
It is a deprecation.
Breaking changes. So I guess deprecation is considered breaking change, but it's not breaking your code yet.
But it will. There's also a lot of stuff like old PDO stuff that changes, and I mean, you got to keep up to date. Like Eric said, January's release of Laravel 9 is going to be based on Symfony, the latest version of Symfony, which is going to require PHP 8. So if you're not getting ready to upgrade to PHP 8 from whatever you're on, then you're not going to be upgrading Laravel either.
All right. I have other things I would like to discuss, but we are super late, so I definitely want to give John an opportunity to bail on us. I know he's got a thing in the morning. Just a reminder for the people who watch us live, we do appreciate you, especially our Patreons. Thank you very much, our Patreons. So, John, no John next week, right? It's just
just the
Tom
two
and
of us
Eric show?
trying to figure out video errors all on our lonesome.
That should be fun. That should be fun. All right, cool. We are already at 11 o'clock West Coast time, midnight for Tom, right? Is it midnight for you, Tom?
Yeah, it's midnight.
Or 1? Yeah,
it's
or is it 1
it's 1
o'clock?
hour,
Are you
midnight.
2 hours or what? Oh, okay. So I don't. For those of you who've gotten accustomed to the audio stream being available Friday morning, yeah, that probably won't happen this week. This one's going to take a lot of cleanup. If you're listening to the audio version and you didn't watch the live stream, you should be very happy because there were a lot of challenges and you didn't have to worry about any of it.
We
You
did
didn't live
lose
through any of it.
40
so it
minutes
was.
ish.
But go hit. Yeah, but go hit subscribe.
Yeah, just
for
make us look good on
We would
YouTube. You
love
don't
it.
have to watch us. Just subscribe to us.
Just subscribe. You can hit the thumbs up every now and then too. That would be good. Not that we get anything out of it.
Yeah,
It's fun
YouTube
to
has
see,
that double
so.
speed thing. Watch it at full speed, whatever. Make yourself happy.
All right, that's it. That will be episode 244. I'm Eric.
I'm Tom.
I'm John.
Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top,
Hey,
y'all know
hey.
how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show
Thanks,
is called Doom
darling, Data.
and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a
thanks,
promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all.
Go.
All right, John.
Woo! That was
John,
a
you're outta
tough
here, right?
one.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out of
Eric,
here.
I know this is never going to come up naturally in the normal show. So I want to get you on this 1,500 businesses attacked by ransomware thing. Did you see the latest news on it?
No.
They got a hold of the code base for this ransomware attack, or parts of it. And one of the things that this ransomware does is check the language, the default language of your operating system. And if it's Russian, then it deletes itself.
What?
This
Really?
Say that
ransomware
again?
was designed to detect the most prominently used language. So, like, it checks your keyboard for Cyrillic, it checks the operating system for Russian language packs. And if it detects that you're using Russian language, it doesn't infect your computer. It just removes itself.
It basically doesn't attack you.
Which is,
It just says, okay.
it's weird on, like, several levels. Because, like, the natural thought is, like, well, then it's got to be a Russian state-sponsored thing. Right? But then I think about it, I'm like, well, but Russia doesn't care as long as they're not bothered by it.
Well, I think that's what they're trying to. If it's state sponsored, it's like, okay, well, we want to make sure nobody accidentally runs this on any of our
Well, no, but
government
even
computers.
then,
So
even if it's not
let's
state
do this.
sponsored, if you're a hacker group living in Russia, the last thing you want is to create a problem for the Russian government. You don't care if you create a problem for the
Right.
U.S. government because Russia's going to be like, yeah, we don't care. So as long as you don't
Right.
infect a Russian computer, then Russia's just going to ignore you. They're going to say, like, yeah, they're not a threat to us. We don't give a shit at all. Let them make money. I'm sure they'll use that as a bribe to pay off somebody.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I thought that was such a fascinating twist in that story.
Yeah, that's
funny.
pretty cool. Well, and John, did you see what happened last week? Since you're still around with this right wing social media system.
Nah.
While we were doing our show, I guess, or maybe it was right before we did our show, they launched this new social media for the right wing. Well, for
Yeah.
freedom to talk or freedom of speech, and it was called Getter. And like by the time we finished our show, it had already been hacked.
I mean,
I
hacked
did
is a
see
loose
that.
term. They published the API keys that they were using on their open source project.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right, I'm gonna head out. Go
All right,
start
man.
packing up.
All right, take
I
it
will
easy.
Bye.
talk to you all later. Bye.
We got to talk about this, the GitHub AI thing next week.
Okay. The one
'cause
in
I love
my
it.
Trello board? Okay. I actually didn't read it yet. So that's good. I'll make sure I read
It's-
that one.
It's a fascinating problem. I mean, it really is like gonna be a weird problem.
Okay. We can bring this up on the show if you want or not, but so I'm messing around with this configuration in NeoVim now, right? And I've kind of settled on this Lunar Vim implementation that the streamer has been streaming for the last couple of weeks. He says he's about a month away from like making his first release, but so that's the one I've been playing with a lot, and he has an implementation, a configuration for VS Code. So I'm like, all right, well that makes sense. VS Code always had that Vim emulator, so it makes sense that they have a NVim emulator. I assume the only difference is it reads configuration files differently. So I looked into it, and you want to
Yes.
hear something interesting? It has the implementation of NVim that's not a emulator. So when you install the NVim extension
It's,
in VS Code, it's actually
it's running it native in the
NVim.
background.
I
I've seen that before
guess.
with VS Code stuff.
So it's cool because this particular package creator, I'm always talking about key bindings, right? And I do a lot to simulate my key bindings in PHP Storm that I have in my Vim, which is screwing me up now because all that's changing. But anyways, the key bindings he has in this Lunar Vim are the same key bindings he's basically mapped in VS Code. And it just works. It works really well. I mean, I got pretty frustrated with VS Code after about an hour of using it and stopped using it. But that piece of it was very cool. I'm like, shit, I gotta tell Tom
Well, and
about this.
VS Code does that for like PHP doc and PHP unit as well. Like all the linting and testing stuff, it runs it in the background and tells it to output an Excel report, and then parses the Excel report and updates the page that you're viewing with the response data. And I've found it to be surprisingly fast.
Okay. So, this implementation of NVim, it had one of the greatest features that I never thought I would see in Vim, which is the one you liked as well in PHP Storm, that inline
I love it.
blame. I love it now. I saw that. I'm like, it actually said, I forget what the config implementation was. Like, I think it might have been called Git Blame or something. And typically when it's Git Blame, it's like something over in the gutter. I'm like, all right, well, let me go ahead and get a Git Blame in here because I always want to have that. And then I saw it looks just like the PHP Storm, where it's just, very faded text, so it doesn't like draw your eyes, but like once you look, you see, oh yeah, each line has the Git Blame on it. It's cool,
and
man.
you know
It's
what's really
cool.
funny about the Git Blame stuff is that I don't use it on a daily basis to blame a person. My daily use case for it is, how new is this line of code? And so, like,
I'm with
I
you
am
on that.
I constantly find myself looking at something and going, oh, that's from this branch, and that's 2 days old. Like, no wonder it's not working. It was part of this thing that everyone merged that must have been a conflict that got resolved wrong or something like that. I mean, having it always available, just always there, you start to appreciate how valuable it is, because it's this massive amount of metadata. And in VS Code, I can actually hover over the grayed out text. It'll tell me what the change was before this one, and it'll let me link to the commit. I can pull the commit up in GitHub and see when it was changed and the comments that went with it and all that stuff. Like, I get a full readout of it.
Interesting.
And and there's a button. There's a button there too that says show team actions. It lets me invite the person who made that commit to a live coding session. Just one click. So I can say like,
Cool.
hey, this is saying that you made this change. I want to talk about why you made it.
Just doing show notes here. I'm not ignoring
It's
you.
very cool.
Validation. It feels like we talked about so much more than just what's in Trello right now, but that's all that's.
Well, we talked a
that's
lot
all
about
going in show notes now because
Couch and NoSQL solutions, which is just like
I
a
got
one-liner
that in
in
there. Do we have? Oh shit! I should add. Let me add links to Couch. That's a good call. Shit.
All right, I'm gonna take off.
Couch. All right,
I'm
man.
gonna
Take
stop
it
the
easy.
stream first. Thank you everybody for watching. Always,
Hey, thanks
always a
everybody for hanging
pleasure.
out with us. We appreciate it.
We will see you next Thursday.